2025 is a year of many things. And one of the most notable things is brain rot. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the occasional 6-7, you know what I mean. But in other news, well, brain rot can be some sort of a sickness, a curse. And this is a sickness, this is a curse that terrorizes the beauty of many things. Games, sequels to glorious musicals, and most notably, or this topic, movies. I feel like during the closing years, or as we move forward, citizens and people alike tend to forget how to view a good film. So I have come here to save you with a guide on how to watch a good movie. Now, there are a few details. Number one, watch the movie. Now, this may be self-explanatory. Of course, it's a movie you're going to watch, but people don't really understand what that means. The beauty of a movie is that you pay $60 or so to sit in a very dark room with blasting speakers and the piece de resistance, a giant screen, 60 to 100 inches tall, 6,000 feet wide. What the hell is this exaggeration? Whatever, that isn't the point. It's a big fat screen, alright? And on that big fat screen is said movie, something you're supposed to watch. And it's really understated, especially when usually nowadays you go to at home to watch movies on a much smaller screen. But anyways, I'm getting on to the wrong points. What I'm supposed to be saying is that big fat TV screens, no, that's not what I was saying at all. No, what I was saying was that movies need to be watched, and no, that's not what I was saying either. I was saying that, I've forgotten. Oh, yes, that movies need to be watched on a big screen because that is the whole point of the movie. When the directors are making the film, they are intending that you are going to watch it on the fattest screen ever. It's probably one of the the director's biggest, motivations, that you get to see their final project on a huge screen. And yet that's not really, appreciated more. It's that you don't really feel immersed. You go to a movie to watch a movie rather than be teleported into another fantastical world where dreams came into real life. And that's not really talked about more. You know, it's not just about looking at your phone and just seeing the movements. No, it's about being there. Like you're there. You're there with Tanjiro in the Demon Slayer movie. You're there with Murphy in the Interstellar. You're there with Puss in Boots. Reasons and things to go on about. Number two, speaking of immersion, there's the music. It's not just the cinema. It's not just the things you're watching. There's the music. Something about movies is that it's the acting. It's the soundtrack. It is the sound design. It's not just the visuals that go on, but for example, when I was watching Interstellar recently, or the 2022 Flow, the music and the sound design really carries the music. The way that the ship engines ignite, Hans Zimmer is an amazing treasure. I hope to meet him someday in the future, but that's besides the point again. But everything that encapsulates you on a movie is important. The acting, the voice acting, if there is any. I was talking about Flow, but that is a silent film. But other than that, there's so many things that just draw you in. No one talks about it, but that's fine. That's what this guide is for, although it is a very messy guide. It's a very messy guide. But another thing is that people tend to forget the story that's told. I will leave off with this because this is becoming more of a rant rather than a guide. Who knew I would be so bad at this? But, wow, this is terrible. Anyways, the story that's being told. One of the things about movies is that there is a general consensus of show, do not tell. It's an important is an important law, and when it's broken, the movie turns out to be, albeit a little terrible, unless you weave around that law in a planned way, so to speak. But if you're just telling instead of showing, it's not really meet your head on the. Let me use an example. Say there are two kids, a boy and a girl. They're running away from something. Who knows? They're out of breath. They're running away, and they meet a gate. Now the gate has a padded lock. It looks like a very strong steel lock. The boy and the girl both, they grab their hands together, they break the lock, and they go through the gate, and they continue running. Nowadays, I feel like most people would say, well, how do they do that? They're just two kids. One is just a girl, but still, they're just boys. How are they strong enough to do that? How did they do that? This is just plot. They did that so that the bad guy won't get their chance. This is a Deus Ex Machina. This is just a falsehood. But in the scene, in the sense of showing don't tell, here's what you should be thinking. Rather, one, what are they running from? It could be the police. It could be, authority. It could be people that are trying to get their test subjects back. It could be that they had superpowers, which is why they were being chased, and that there was a scientist guards chasing them, and they were not supposed to get away. Even though and it still seems that their powers aren't working yet, as they needed two people to open the lock. And it's things like that people tend to forget. But at the end of the day, I guess you could just find someone to explain this better than me, because goodness, do I suck at explaining things. I should have gotten a script, but I didn't want a script. I wanted this to be natural. But on that note, may your days be many. Until next time, my subjects.